All right. Good morning, everyone. Can you put a thumbs up if you can hear me? Yes. Okay. Perfect. So, welcome to SLIDES-OOLOGY. And I want to thank each and every one of you for coming out to our elementary winter summit and giving up one of your Saturdays to be a part of this opportunity that we're giving and these sessions that we're presenting. Um, first, I'm gonna introduce myself. I'm Gilbert Barrera, and I am one of the elementary academic technology coaches. I'm one of the newest members on the team, which I'm very fortunate to be a part of an amazing team already. And I've been in education for 9 years. 7 of those years I was in the classroom at Passmore, and 2 of the years I was at Glenn as their writing AST. And some of the schools that I service in my new position is Adams Hill, Allen, Cody, Fisher, Forrester, um, Valley High, and Glenn. And I have the honor to have a co-host, the amazing Arlene Jacobs, so she can introduce herself.
I don't know about the amazing part, but I am his co-host. Thanks, Gilbert. My name is Arlene Jacob. I'm also an academic technology coach. I serve 7 campuses. I currently serve Owie, Boone, Blattman, Carnahan, Lock Hill, May, and McAndrew. That's pretty impressive. Oh, thanks, Chris. That I remembered this morning. I have taught first, second, and third grades. I have been a CIT, and I was also an alpha teacher. And again, just to repeat what Gilbert said, thank y'all so much for attending our session. I know it's rough to get up early on a Saturday morning. We appreciate you being here.
Also, we have our Twitter handles at the bottom of our pictures, underneath our pictures. So feel free to follow us on Twitter. We would love to connect with you and collaborate. And we are always sharing ideas, so don't forget to follow us. This is our academic technology mission and vision. So our mission is to transform the learning experience for students. And our vision is every day, every student grows in confidence, curiosity, and capability. Today, our objective for today's session is we would love for you to learn how to create Google Slides that are eye-catching, engaging, and will capture the interest of your students during synchronous and asynchronous while incorporating a variety of skills and content. These are this morning's norms. We would love for you to actively listen and participate. We would love for you to take care of yourself and your needs. If you need to turn off your camera and we know it's a Saturday, and if you have kids, we completely understand. We would love to have your camera on and your mic off, just so we can see your wonderful morning faces and smiles. And what is learned here leaves here. So we would love for you to learn everything that we are going to present today, and we would love for you to implement it Monday or sometime this week or before the school year ends. We would love for it to leave here, and feel free to share with colleagues as well. We would love for you to utilize the chat. So this is where we will be able to answer any of your questions. Arlene is going to be managing the chat, so she will stop me even during the presentation if we need to answer any questions or you want me to go back. Feel free to utilize that as well. So we're going to get started. So what are Google Slides? You might be thinking, what are Google Slides? I've been using it since March, since the pandemic started. Um, we're here to show you what are some ways that we could, capture that engagement and increase that motivation for our students. So a little background knowledge of what Google Slides is Slides is a free web-based presentation program designed to compete with the Microsoft Office PowerPoint. So it's very similar to the Microsoft Office slide PowerPoint, but there's just some new features that Google Slides offers that they do not offer in the Microsoft Office version. So Google Slides is available on all devices and platforms. All you need is an internet connection and a web browser. And since Slides is an online presentation program, you can share, you can collaborate with multiple people on the same file, you can track revisions, changes, and suggestions all in real time. You might be thinking, why should we use Google Slides? Why should we use this? With Google Slides, you can build presentations right from your web browsers. There's no special programs you need to download or is required. Even better, multiple people can work on the same slide at the same time. You can see people's changes as they make them, and every change is automatically saved. So that's really nice than using the Microsoft Office version where you have to always click that little button to make sure everything that you've worked on is saved. In this case, it saves automatically. So Google Slides as a student. So I'm going to show you some examples of ways that you can use Google Slides to engage and motivate your students. But before, I want to just tell you a little bit about some research. So research shows that students are more engaged, they're motivated when lessons are of particular interest to them. So as a classroom teacher, I love taking time to interview my students on topics such as, activities they like to do, hobbies, places they like to visit, people, animals that they like. And so as teachers, we should take the time to casually and informally talk to our students to really get to know who they are as a person. And so this makes us more aware of our students' interests and will drive the instruction for all content areas. And so this could be, you know, before the pandemic, I would have like a little clipboard and I would have some their names and just some lines. And even like after I got a reading lesson real quick, I would just talk to them, tell me a little bit about this. Or now in the pandemic, even if I'm in a Zoom call and I'm waiting for kids to pop in, I can always ask them some little questions here and there just to get a feel of what they like. And you get to really know kind of pop culture and what is in at the moment. Um, so that really helps as well. So before I go into showing you some examples and how you can utilize them, is I want you to think about the examples that are being presented, and I want you to think about how you can use it in your own position. Because later on in the presentation, we're going to have some collaboration time, and that's where you're going to be able to put in some ideas. And I would love for you to put ideas on how you can use these examples. How would you change it in a content area that you're comfortable with, or that would be nice for someone else who is in this presentation to use as well. So if you are, because I did include some of our amazing rotation specialists. So if you have an idea that, a physical education, a PE teacher could use, jot that down in there as well. If you have something that, a STEM teacher could probably use in her classes, you can jot those ideas down so we can help each other and collaborate. So here's the first example. So this example is called a custom linking page. So this custom linking page can be used in multiple uh, content areas, anything you feel that you would like to incorporate in your classroom. So in this case, this teacher is linking things that her students are using. If it's linking it to RazzKids, if it's linking it to Starfall or PebbleGo. And so this linking page, and it doesn't have to be this big. All they used was a table. If you're a teacher in the lower grades and you just want, 4 squares or 6 of them that are linked to something, it's entirely customized for your students' needs and your needs. So for example, all of these are links. So my students in Schoology can click on resources, and if they are doing a writing assignment and they need sight words. So what I've done is you can link it. And so here are all the Northside high frequency words. And so if I am a first grade teacher, I might have students that need the kindergarten sight word list. If I'm a first grade teacher, you might have some that are ready that know all of first grade sight words and they need the second grade. And so all of them are in here. And these can be changed if you just want K through second or all of them, because we always want to increase their knowledge in these high frequency words. So that is one way that it was linked. If I'm teaching math They have this math assignment in Schoology, and they need some manipulatives. And sometimes they didn't come to our monthly drive-through to pick up materials. There is a website where I can just click, and they can have all of the virtual manipulatives that they need at their disposal. So this is one that I shared. If you don't follow me on Twitter, I did share this in one of my bulletins. You don't want to miss out on some of the things that I'm sharing. So this is one that have anything like Unifix cubes they could click on. And there's so many in here that if I was someone that was in a primary grade, I mean first grade, it might be too overwhelming. I might just want to just link one or two. And so students are able to use this for their math assignment. And these links can be embedded into Schoology, and they work perfectly. And I did put a video in my bulletin, if you follow me on Twitter, on how you can implement that in Schoology. So there's a lot of variety in here. So this linking page can be anything. It could be like centers that they can click on. They could be just a linking page with just math manipulatives. It can be everything that just has to do with reading. So it's customized wherever you fit that you will need in your classroom as well. So we know that kids love Fortnite. And so when I was in the classroom, I guess Fortnite started coming very popular, and I really had to research and really know about it. And that's why in the interest surveys that I would interview with my students, I really got to know what they like. And so that's what increases motivation and engagement. So in this case, it was a fortnight, and this is an example for math. So these characters are flying into these different locations. And so what I did was properties of operation. So if they click on each of these landing locations, they are here. So if they're yellow, they all have to do with addition. If they were red, then these are subtraction. And so if they were flying in and they clicked on junction, it would take them to, it's linked to a slide in the presentation that has to do with addition. So Sarah had 4 red apples in her shopping cart. She met Ruth, gave her 2 green apples. How many apples does Sarah have at the end? This is customizable. So you can, using the text box, you can change the addition problem. You can even add an anchor chart over here that you have created already in your mini lesson. You can link it to some sort of worksheet or recording sheet in here. And then it's always linked back to the map. So then they can choose another one in that case. This is something that I did as a writing AST at my campus right before I left. I left way in the beginning of the year, probably in September. And so this was when everyone was getting introduced to Schoology. We student at this point, students were all virtual, and teachers were the only ones on campus. And so we wanted, or I wanted them to have something for our virtual kids of writing tools. So as a writing teacher, before the pandemic, they would have folders, and in the folder would have an alphabet chart, and they would have some sight words, and they would have things to help them be successful in writing. So this template I found on slidesmania.com. And we'll go into slidesmania.com just so you can see what it actually is. And they have all these free templates that are PowerPoint presentations, and they come with like 20 to 30 slides. So what you don't have to use all of them. What I did is just I picked and choose, and then I customize it for my students and for my teachers. So when students click on writing tools, they can click what they need. So if I'm at home, I am a second grade student, and I'm doing a writing assignment, I need something for my alphabet chart. So I can click on it, and this is the alphabet chart that I have been using as a teacher in reading and writing. And so then it's also linked back to the main landing page. And then you can do something for letter formations, sight words, phonics, the writing process, and writing checklists. And so all of these are customized. And what I told my teachers is that, we did this for the first 9 weeks, and these are always changeable. We can change it to something else the next 9 weeks. Maybe all my kids already know all their alphabet, so I can move that and put in something else. So all of these are customized for my students.
Hey,
There's
Gilbert, before
yes.
before you move on, just in the chat, there were some people that are having problems with their connection from home. So I did want to remind people that we are recording the session, so they could always go back and rewatch. And then secondly, we did have a question about, will someone show us how to create a linking page? They really like that one. And
Yes.
I said yes to contact the tech coach, but I don't know if that is something that you have time or was part of your original presentation.
Yeah, so later on, we're going to vote on one you would like to demonstrate. If that's something that you would want me to demonstrate on how to create this linking page, um, of course, we can go into that demonstration. And
I
also,
see
like
some heads nodding.
Arlene also mentioned, you can reach out to myself or any of your tech coaches on how to customize this for you for your students. So don't feel like you have to memorize everything now. We're always here to help you. Those are some good questions. So this one is BookFlex. So this one is also customized for students. So I like this one because as a classroom teacher, when I was doing guided reading, I had a box of books on my guided reading table, and when my students came over to my red group, say, came to my small group table, they would read these books that we already read in guided reading to build that fluency, while I was able to manage the other students in the classroom and make sure they were in their centers. Now we can't do that anymore. We're now in this pandemic, so this is something that I would have used now if I was still in the classroom. Is when I'm on Zoom, my students can click on this link, they can read these books while I'm managing students in person, because we know students, the internet gets lost, they have they get logged out of their portal. So we have all these issues that are happening, and it takes away from my small group, and we really want to get that started right away. So they can click on this link in Schoology, read some books that we've read before, build that fluency, while me, the teacher, is able to troubleshoot some things that are happening in the classroom. So this is all customized, and you'll get this free at the end of the presentation, and also in a follow-up email. So these books are all from a website that Jan Berkins and Kim Yaris have. And so when you click on it, it's linked to their website, and they're giving free. Unfortunately, it's not in Spanish, so I'm sorry, but they have some books in there that students can read in there. And there's a variety of free levels from A, I want to say, to H. I'm not quite sure. I might have to go back and read to that website, but they have some books there that are linked. Or we have Reading A to Z. So I can link books that are in my drive for my students. And so when they click it, they have the book right there that they can read as well. So that is one way that I can utilize this as well. Everything is customized above. I could even have one tab that's linked to maybe slide 4 with all traditional literature books. Or I can have something linked to slide 5, and it's all nonfiction. So all of these are customized. I can use these with any type of genre that I'm wanting to present for my students as well. And then I didn't want to leave out some of our amazing rotation specialists. So they have one of their own. So I thought, gym flex, or they can have an art flex one, or they can have a STEM flex. And so it's very similar to the reading one. So it's all customized. They can have exercise, health things, motor skills. And so these are just linked to YouTube videos, but wouldn't it be awesome if the coach or an art teacher make their own videos and then have those uploaded? And so if I have, and it's so nice for the virtual kids if they want to learn how to dribble. So there's videos on the fundamentals of dribbling, um, anything, exercise if they want to do kid yoga, and so they just don't have to just do it in asynchronous time or just during the school day. They can pop into Schoology anytime on a weekend and just do some exercise. This one's one of my favorites. So, we can't do a lot of field trips, so we can do a virtual field trip. And so this one, every room is linked. So I thought, we could use this for science or social studies. And so I thought, for social studies, we can do women in history. If for science, it could be dinosaurs, different rooms of different dinosaurs, all of those things. So in the museum, each of them is linked. And so if I go to room 1, my students can learn all about Maya Angelou. And so each of these are clickable. So if they click on this picture, they're going to learn everything about her early life. I can even insert a video here. This is also linked, so I can go back to the main room. I can learn everything about her career. I can even insert a little video here. And then her passing is also in there. And the beauty of this is that, once we model it for students, then they can do this on their own. They can do it on a project of someone whose interest to them, if it's a basketball player or if it's a musician, all of that. And then this is also linked back to the main room. So then they can go to room number 2 and learn something totally different, another women in history, that way. This one is a book room. So it's kind of sort of like Book Flex, but these can be genre based. So I can have everything about frogs or butterflies, or if I'm doing it for guided reading and I have, my students are on level CD, these are all could be customized for them. And they're linked to Epic. So in Epic, it's free. You can have collections of books and they can be linked. So if I want to learn, my students want, I love butterflies, they can click on it and must belong to Epic and they can start reading it right there or have it read to them.
So, Gilbert, one of the participants has asked if we can talk a little bit about copyright issues or to avoid copyright issues for some of these things. So, how do we kind of get around the fact that we're just really kind of putting the link to something like Epic or a subscription that we
Hmm.
may have?
Yeah, so one thing you could do is as long as you're giving credit to where you're getting the information from. A lot of times for copyright issues like this one, you can always, even though it's linked to Epic, you can always make sure you give credit because we're not really selling it anywhere. We're not really, giving it away to something that's just customized for our own kids. Um, I hope that answers the question. I don't know if you want to say anything else, Arlene.
The only other thing that I was gonna just kind of tell people to consider too is the way they're going to get to it. So obviously this isn't going to be something that you're going to put on there and you're going to put like on social media, right? It's something that they probably will need to log into, and you know how Schoology's clamped down. So it's not like everybody's going to be able to view that on, but again, I wouldn't probably make something like this and then share a link to it or something like that on Twitter
Yeah,
or any other social media platform. I think as long as it's, contained, so to speak, I think that's fine because it is for educational purposes.
yeah. So you should be okay. So I did mention in the presentation, these are the websites that you can get some of these custom backgrounds already that you can use. So I really like when I did the writing tools, I got it from Slides Mania. And so they have a bunch of custom things that you can use for your students and make it more engaging. I think this is the one that had that really cool grocery store one. Um, Also at my O campus, we did one that was Google. So students, say in first grade, they can just click first grade, and these are all the centers that they could use during center time. Here's a grocery store one. So this is a great website. Another one is Slides Carnival. These are just free presentation that you can use, but you can on any free time you can go in to look at those as well. All right, so get ready because we're going to start a voting. I'm happy to show you because we only have an hour. So I would love to show you how each of them are made. So it's very important. If there's one in particular you wanted, please reach out to us and we'll be happy to walk you through that. Before I show the poll, um, make just think about how, because later on we're going to be doing that jam board and that collaboration time. Make sure that even through this, you can get some information and maybe share with some of our other friends that are joining us today. So this poll is going to be asking you which Google slide you would like for me to demonstrate. Remember, we have the custom link page. We have the Fortnite digital menu. You know what? I forgot to show you the Instagram. I'll show you that one. Writing tools, BookFlex and GymFlex, Virtual Museum, and Book Room. Let me go back real quick and show you the Instagram one. And this one, I was thinking it could be mostly for reading. Say I'm reading The Little Red Riding Hood, and them to focus on the character Little Red. And so these are just snippets of things that are happening to her in the story. And so when they click it, they can give me some sort of summary and then link it back. I can even have them do this on their own once it's modeled for students. They can do this on their own, take screenshots, and then put them in their own little Instagram. So this is the character Little Red. This. All right, so in a few minutes, you should be seeing the poll, and then you can start voting. I'll give you some time. All right, you can give me a thumbs up if everyone has voted. Okay, I think it's just me and Arlene that didn't vote because I was 17 of 19. Okay, so the one that was the winner in 24% is the linking page. So a round of applause. All right, so let me go to. So, and this when I'm demonstrating, feel free to stop me if you want me to go back and answer any questions. Feel free to do that as well. You can put it in the chat or you can unmute yourself. So this one is the custom linking template. Now, during the presentation, I mentioned that this is just a table. And so this table can be customized. It could be a lot for some students or just so many. So it just depends on your class. If you can have just 6 or you can just have just 4, it's up to you. So in this case, there's a lot. And so how this one is made, let me just go into a different one. Choose a blank one. So the first thing that they did was they did a background. This background, you can choose a theme. Let me move the pictures. A theme. You can also have some sort of background. If you go to like images, you can do like an empty room if you wanted to. I like this one. And so one of the things I shared in my on Twitter on my bulletin is if you just click and then you drag it to the template you want and then just drop it. And there it is. And you can resize this if you want to. So it's all customized. You could do colors like the one in the example, or you can do some sort of picture. So say I want, in this presentation, they added a table. So I'm just going to do 6 just to make sure. And to get to the table, you are going to insert table and then how many squares you want. To make sure that it's able for students to see is we have the border color. So I'm going to choose white because the background is black. And then the thickness, you can also make that as well. And then you're just going to put that there. And so it's here. So what I should have done is I need a title. I might want to just insert another row above, just so I can show you how the title was made. And also, I just wanted to mention too that that's probably for a different session, but you can also create things in slides, which is nice, and then also have them in Seesaw as well. And that's more steps, but that could be another session. Um, Here is where I'm going to highlight the box, and I'm going to right click and merge cells. This is for my title. Now, this title was created in Word Art, which is nice because all you're doing is clicking and changing the font. So how to do that is you're going to go to Insert, Word Art, and I'm just going to put reading. You can change the font and the color. So then you're going to put that here. And then I like to make it a little more fancy. So then I'm going to do it again. Insert Word Art. I'm going to put reading links. Also, again, change the font. And then move it over here. Another cool thing too is if you go to Jiffy, I can type in reading stickers. And so I'm going to look for something that's to do with reading.
Gilbert, this was one of the questions in the chat, and I didn't want to interrupt you, but yeah,
Yes, of
they were
course.
wondering where you're getting your GIFs from.
So you follow me on Twitter. This is where I get them from. So let's say this one's cute, the teacher. And so I'm just going to click, take it to my presentation, and then drop it. And then I can just resize it and put her over here. It could be a kid, but for time purposes, that's how it's created. And then in here, what I did was say I have, let's see, Starfall. So I'm going to go make sure I have that open, Starfall. And then I'm going to go to still in images, put Starfall. Maybe logo. And then from here, I'm going to click, drag it, and then drop it. I'm gonna do that one more time because I'm in the wrong slide. Go back to here. I might want, so I'm gonna click it, drag, drop. And so then I'm gonna resize it here, put it in the box. And you have two choices. You could link it based on the picture, or you can add a shape and put it over that picture. And then using the colors, I'm gonna make it transparent and no border. And then from here is where I have my website. I'm gonna Control C or copy and paste it. And then I'm gonna go to the linking insert and type it in here as well. Now the most important part is this is gonna be published. So when I put it in Schoology, it's not gonna, the kids are not gonna be linking to my Google slide. It's gonna be um, it's gonna be linked to, it's gonna be published to the web. So when it's published to the web, and I'll show you in just a minute, it's already clickable. So they don't have to be going to everything. And how you get it to publish, let me move this part, is you're gonna go to File, Publish to the Web, and then click Publish. And it's gonna give you a link. This is the link I'm putting in Schoology. So when I go to a new browser, students click the link in Schoology, this is all they're gonna see. They're not gonna see anything in slides, and they can't change the text, they can't change anything, it's published already. And so this is where they're gonna click and go. Any questions so far on this part?
Not on that part. There was a question about making it like a template or like a master so that you could select it, I guess, and possibly change it.
Can you explain it again?
I would, it's there's a way to make these as templates, correct, that you can select from.
Oh yeah, so you can go in. You can have a Google Slide document, and these can be customized and changed however you fit. You can have one for reading, you can have one for math, and it's going through the same thing. I can change this to math links, I can change it to you reading games, all of that. And they don't have to be linked to a website. It could be something that is a shareable link in your drive that's to a game that they could, that's a PDF if it's a book, or it's some sort of another slide that they can go into with sharing rights. That can work as well. Hope that answers the question. Before I move on to the presentation, in this presentation of custom links, they used a table word art snipping tool. So you can do it from here, click and drag, or if you already have a picture that you like, you can always snip it into that as well. I think I mentioned you can link websites, PDFs, and then I did show you how the background color or to add an image to it. Is there any other questions right now before we move on in the presentation that you want me to show again? Um,
There was a comment that said something like they're gonna have to rewatch, which is fine, and I get it because
I know.
there's a lot of ways to do it. And then just to clarify, do you insert as a link into Schoology?
Yes.
Maybe
So,
demo that
um,
just real quick, just like in a sandbox or something,
yeah.
even if
So
it's not
let me
complete.
go into Schoology. I'll put it in here. So in here, if I wanted to, I put writing resources. So in here, I can go to add materials and the link. Click on link. And then my title is going to be reading links, let's say, for the example. And then here is when I published it. And usually what I like to do is once it's published, I like to put the link in the speaker notes. But you can always go back to it and back to file, publish to the web, and that link is still there. And then when I go to Schoology, this is the link, and click add. And so when students click on it, it's going to take them straight to it. I think I have to click on this part. Let me go back. Let me go to edit. There it is. So what I did was I had to go back to edit. And if you uncheck this part, it's going to display in a new window, and that's what I want. So scratch that other part. So if you put in the link, you put in the title, and then you see when I first did it, it was highlighted. I went to unhighlight it, click changes. So once they click, I don't want them to take it to a different window, a different tab. And then there it is.
Okay, so we have a question. Once you publish and we add the link, you can still make changes to the template, correct? You'll just have
Yes.
to relink.
Yes. It should, if I go back to that presentation, it should automatically change in the link. But if you want to just make sure that it does change, then of course feel free to just relink it. All right, so we have some collaboration time. Arlene's going to put in the chat the Jamboard. And so during this demonstration, during all of the examples, I want you to think about how we can use this. Let me find my Jamboard. There it is. And so we have reading, you could pick a frame, whatever you feel comfortable with. Reading, writing, math, science, social studies, PE. Don't forget about our amazing rotation specialist. Music, art, STEM. I didn't include library, but you can put that in the reading one and just use a sticky. Let me demonstrate that. So I'll say, we can have a virtual, oops, book room. and then you're just going to put it in there. Just some examples that you might use this or change it if you wanted to. So I'm gonna give you some time to think and jot down, and then we'll be back in about maybe less than 10 minutes. And if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. I hope you're able to put a lot of these ideas down, and we're just going to go and review a little bit of them. So for reading, a lot of what I see is, word work tasks can be used, vocabulary, reading stations, focus on poetry, daily tasks, some grammar, simple and compound sentences. Um, as a reading specialist, I could have books in the range of levels that are need to be able to read. So this is another great way of some ideas, and maybe that some of these can spark new ideas. And I don't want you to feel like you're on your own once you get these ideas. Feel free again to reach out to your tech coach. We'll be happy to sit one on one and help create these for you. For math, for writing, link videos to model cursive handwriting. That would be awesome to have some videos, even videos of yourself doing it. You can have, videos of mini lessons. Um, the writing process video examples of mentor texts. I was even thinking too for reading the book flex. It could be like a read aloud flex, and it's like you reading aloud a book to your students because sometimes they're not getting a lot of read alouds at home before bedtime, but they can hop on a Schoology, click on that link, and it's you reading them a story, and they can pick and choose. That'd be another great way to utilize some of these engaging slides. For math, You know, we could have some math facts activities, Instagram showing different ways to solve problems, link to a help page with anchor chart. That's an awesome one too, because we're also creating so many anchor charts, and it's like, where do we store them? Even before the pandemic, it's harder. Where am I storing no wall space? But now, everything's digital. We can just link them, and so students can. That's an awesome one. They can just click on an anchor chart. Science, let's see, demo like science experiments, model a science mini lesson experience for students at home. The museum is one of my favorite ones. I was even thinking, a lot of us do author study. So that museum can be Mo Williams, and each room is about a book or about his life. That's another way that we could use that virtual museum part of it. Social studies, again, the virtual museum field trips, links to different workouts. Even for us adults, I would love to just link to one that I could do here at home. Music, a lot of it could be used on different types of music. If you can even go to you can even use the museum one and have different types of music or different artists, just kind of like how we do author study, but it could be a musician, composer, someone who has some sort of music inspiration and different types of music and different maybe music and culture. um, Art again, that museum one, students can learn about different artists, um, any sort of those things. Also videos on how the kids love to learn how to draw different animals or different things. Those could be great as well.
One thing that I was thinking about, Gilbert, when you shared the museum one, is that, maybe for the older kids or the high flyers, possibly, once y'all get a good handle on how to do these, but that museum one in particular, I'm like, there's no reason why we can't teach the kids how to do this. And so if this is an independent study or they've done a research and they're trying to show you, and I remember, display boards back in the day when we were face to face. And now I was thinking, how cool would it be for them to create something like this to present, especially on Zoom? I think that would be kind of cool.
Oh yeah, and they take ownership in it, and they want to make it perfect, and they want to have their friends try it, or go to
Hmm.
this room, go to that room, and so it
Right,
really keeps them busy, and that creation part of it, and that
right.
engagement. Yeah, I would really. That's something
And
that
the
I.
coaches would be a wonderful asset. We could kind of help you, get the kids ready for that, kind of show
Mm,
them, do a small group if that's what they choose to do. So that's cool.
yeah. So this next part is some Q&A. This could be from the chat if there's any, Arlene, or if you want to unmute yourself and ask any questions. We'll give this about, because I think we have about 9 more minutes. Any last minute questions we can answer for you.
I've been manning the chat fairly well. I think we've been answering the questions as they've come up.
And I know it's a
But
little fast too, but we're more than welcome to work one on one with you
yeah.
to build some of these for your
Oh,
students.
we have well, it's like a request. If you could show the museum one again.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
So once it's the museum one, once it's published and everything's finished, remember that link is this is all they're going to see. They're going to see it in slides. But every room is linked to it. And so this one, I know I showed you Maya Angelou, but I also did one on Rosa Parks. And so these images I just got from Google, and I did the same hack. I just clicked, dragged it to my presentation, and dropped it in. The difference with these is, let me exit out of this part. These have those transparent shapes. So what I like to do is I like to put a border around it so I can see where they're at, because once you move it to insert the picture, you don't see it anymore. So if I put a border on it, then I can see, I can move it back. So what I did was I imported the pictures, just that little hack, just click and drag, and then I put this little thing back. And the reason why you need this is because this picture is linked to slide 4. So how you do that is you have a shape. You're gonna go to fill color, transparent, and I'll put a border so I know where it's at. And so here, if I go to the link, insert link, this is where we usually you link like a website or something. But if you click down here where it says slides and the presentation, I want the slide linked to slide 6. So in students, and I'll move it over here just for showing purposes. If I move it over here and the kids click on it, it's going to take them straight to the slide I want them to take to them to. So that's how that was created.
Okay, Gilbert. A couple questions about this museum one because that seems to be like the hot topic. How did you get the link from a picture to the description of the picture? And I think she's okay with that way because you were kind of went on. Melissa, are you okay with that? And you can unmute yourself if you need more explanation. But
Yeah, I was just asking to see how they were linking, and then somebody asked the same thing why he was using the transparent shapes. So I
right,
just said it so that when they click on the photograph, it'll take them to the link. So
right.
you have to
Yeah.
have something kind of hidden.
Yeah, and there's two options. You can have this hidden, transparent shape, or you can just have it on the actual picture. Can be
Mhm.
linked as well. And so all of these, um, or all have those transparency. We can see it's linked to slide 5, and then this one's linked to slide 6.
And is it the same way when you click on return to museum? Is that linked to slide
Yeah,
1 or 2?
yeah. Let me just move my little bar. Yeah. So if you click it, slide 1, so it goes back to the main room.
Yeah, that speaker notes box is big. It's hard to. I always have to move it down.
And so for students, these you can give them each one to work on, and they can type it in their stuff. These are all text boxes, so they can type in that information through their research, and everything is linked. And those are options. You don't have to use these invisible transparent shapes. You can also link it to the actual picture as well. That might make it a little easier for students. I know we have about 5 minutes. Is everyone any other questions about the museum one? It's one of my favorite ones.
No, I think we're good. The transparent shapes, you covered that. Yeah, no, I think we've got it all, unless they want to unmute themselves and they have a question. But I think we're good.
All right. So this one is the free resource that you'll be getting. Arlene's going to put it in the chat if you want to already grab it and start working on something this weekend and start implementing on Monday. But you'll be getting this on a follow-up email as well. So these are all of the ones I shared today. Also, feel free to reach out to your coach as well. We'll be happy to help you build these for your students. And so you can get more familiarized with using it. And so you're confident enough to build it with your students. So that is there as well. Also, we've been talking about it all this presentation. We are more than happy to help you build these for your students. Don't ever feel like you have to build it on your own. We'll be happy to sit one-on-one with you and work on it, collaborate, think of more ideas on how we can use this in the classroom. So always reach out to your technology coach, and we'll be so happy to be working with one-on-one. We could also do it with the whole team. And so if everybody on the team is doing a virtual museum one, that's 5 museums that they can go to that are on different topics. So the last thing before we close out this session is the evaluation. So we would love for your feedback. We would love for things that you've learned, things that we can improve on, things you want to see in other sessions. I know I mentioned there could be another session on how we can use these slides and put them in Seesaw for our littles. Slides is such a wonderful tool to use, and you can use it for so many things. And so if you're always looking on Seesaw, if you're pre-K through first, that is how they're building some of these activities is through slides or PowerPoint, and they're putting them into Seesaw. There's more steps to it to build your own, high quality instruction activities, but it is doable, and we'll be happy to help you with that. Other than that, you can enjoy the rest of your weekend. I know your time is precious on a Saturday. Thank you for joining us for our winter summit. And there's more sessions coming up later if you signed up at 10. So thank you so much for coming and spending time with us, me and Arlene.
Um, I was going to just mention very quickly, what somebody had mentioned that they couldn't get access when I tried to open it, my page wouldn't load. So I don't know if we're having issues with Drive or not or what have you. And they asked for the eval in the chat, and I'll put that in there. But Gilbert, could you double check the folder for the resources and make
Let me
sure
see.
that it's
Yes,
and
I'll do
I
that.
will
Let me
get
see.
okay. All right, thank you.
Gilbert,
Yes.
do you happen to have any of those templates in Spanish?
No, but we could work one on one with you and get those for you in Spanish.
Okay,
We can build them together.
thank you.
Thank you. Let me see if I'll put this
Okay,
in the
so
chat and see if
we
this
did have
works.
another person say that it was working for her. Okay,
Yeah,
here's the eval coming, guys.
you have to be logged into your Drive for it to be. Oops, I sent it through Ms. Harmon instead of the whole group. Sorry.
Oh,
There you go. Yeah, but this will also be in the follow-up email as well. I know we're so excited to start building some things.
I know. I just refreshed and mine loaded, so I think we're good.
Okay.
And I believe the form is there. Yeah, it's important, you guys, that you do the evaluation because that's also how you're going to get credit for attendance. So make sure that you do that. Again, it's on the screen, but it's also in the chat. And we'll leave that here for a few minutes before we let you go, or before we go.
Yeah, but thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for all those questions, and we look forward to hearing from you to build these for your students.